Aloha. Happy Wednesday. How's everybody doing? I'm just getting my headphones out so hopefully we'll get rid of that static noise that's always there with my phone. Hi. Let me know if you tune in. Give me an aloha or a wave. Also, if you're tuning in for the replay, please hashtag replay. Okay. So, I am just getting back from a really lovely road trip. I just traveled through Utah and Colorado. It was so beautiful. I had a really good time. I went to a show at Red Rocks for the first time. For anybody who doesn't know what Red Rocks is, I think it's one of the most famous music venues in the whole planet because it's situated amongst these huge red rocks that are just like coming out of the ground, right at the base of the mountains west of Denver. It's been on my bucket list, and I finally got to go, and it was really beautiful. And it was so refreshing to be around humans, to just be around tribe, to dance to some good music. It was actually really it was really emotional for me at one point, just because I realized I have not really been around very many humans for a good amount of time now, and it was just such good soul medicine to be in that space with everyone, just tuned into the love vibration and open hearts. It was really good soul medicine. And so I titled this, "Is Your Mind Being Hijacked by the Modern Day Food Industry?" This is something that's really, it's been a really big thing for me for, I don't know, like more than a decade now. And I have a lot to share on it. So I'm going to try to keep it short and just focus on some new information that I've been getting recently. So I transitioned to a plant-based diet more than 10 years ago. I learned about the horrors of factory farming and wanted nothing to do with the kind of suffering that industry creates for beings on our planet. And it's actually been, my diet has been probably it's probably been the piece that has been the most challenge for me since leaving Hawaii. And I had kind of like allowed myself to slip up for a while there. I found it really challenging to maintain some of the integrity of my diet and lifestyle for a while there, just because I wasn't around any or enough other humans who were on the same wavelength as I am. So eventually I kind of started to succumb to the environment and the people that I was around, even though it was out of integrity with what I knew was right for me. It was a really good lesson and experience for me to kind of come back into the system that most Americans live in, because it's a lot easier to uphold healthy diets and lifestyle when you live in paradise like Hawaii. And one of the biggest things that I feel like I've been experiencing during my sabbatical away from Hawaii, not really a sabbatical, but you get what I'm saying, my break from Hawaii, has been really coming back into the societal structures here and experiencing the real life challenges that everyone is facing here, and why even with the best intentions people are still failing at their well-being goals and their health goals. And me and my partner came up with a term for this, and we call it the terrain theory, which basically means that whatever your environment is, you're going to become. And it takes an exceptionally, very powerfully motivated individual to overcome their terrain. And it's nearly impossible. It's not impossible. You just have to want it so bad that you're willing to put in the effort, because our modern day society is set up in opposition of what actually allows a human being to thrive. So in addition to not contributing to factory farming, I would just like to say a little bit on that. I feel like there's a lot of awareness about it on the planet right now, so I don't really talk about it very much, but I'm just going to touch on it right now because I'm bringing it up. From my personal perspective, I don't have an opinion whether anybody eats animal products or not. I understand that everybody, has their own formula and everyone's on their own path of evolution on the planet. So that's not something that I debate. But the thing that I really want to share right now, that I share with my private clients, is the frequency of the food that you're eating. And so when we're talking about eating animal products, if you think about, and if you understand the way that factory farming works, you understand that the animals in the agriculture industry, like the big factory farms, are treated like shit. They're treated so badly. They're not healthy, and they don't get proper treatment, and they die full of fear. Like full of fear and terror. And if that's the state of being that the animal is in when it dies, guess what's going to happen when you eat it? You eat that. You eat that fear. And so if you understand that we are vibrational beings, energetic beings, not just in these physical bodies, we are affected by energy. And this is one of the main, in addition to the fact that the world is just ass backwards right now, this is one of the things that's very overlooked, that causes a tremendous amount of anxiety and low vibrational feelings within individuals by consuming animal products that come from animals that are filled with fear. And that's not just meat, it's also dairy and eggs. So I don't personally feel like any of it's bad necessarily. Like, your choice to eat whatever you want is your choice. I don't place judgment on any of that, but you really got to start looking at where you're getting your food from and start sourcing it more consciously. Because if you're going to eat animal products, and especially if you have an issue with anxiety, this is something that I really want to highly recommend experimenting with in your own diet. Is if you do eat animal products, source consciously from small local farms that you can, that the animals are treated well. Because if we're ingesting fear from an Ayurvedic perspective, every single kind of food that you put in your body has an effect on the environment of your mind. Every single food, it's going to have a different effect on you. So when we're talking about eating products from animals that are not treated with care and that have a bunch of fear and low vibrational emotions in them when they die, or when their milk or eggs or whatever is being harvested, that's going to go into your energy system. And what it's going to do is it's going to start activating these lower vibrational energies within you, okay? And if you understand that we're vibrational beings, this is what Abraham Hicks talks about all of the time. It's like you are attracting your own frequency, okay? And so if you're eating a low vibrational food or an animal product that comes from an animal that's full of fear, you're eating that low vibration, you're eating that fear, and that's now active in your energy field. And so that's now going to be an energy that you start attracting to you in your situations around you, in the dramas that you live out in your human life. And also it's going to affect the quality of your thoughts. It's going to create more fearful thoughts and more erratic thoughts in your mind. And so I'm a really big advocate for consciously sourcing your, just food in general, but especially your animal products, consciously sourcing it as much as you possibly can. And if anybody feels inspired to just do an experiment and maybe you want to try out a vegetarian diet for a minute, I would love to see somebody do an experiment on themselves with changing their diet, even just temporarily, just to see how it affects your energy, your mood, and also the quality of your thoughts. And so this is a really big one, and it's been really big in my reality, and it's almost made me borderline food Nazi because I've done so much research into how deeply manipulative the food system has become in modern America, and how humans have actually been studied to figure out how we work and how we can be manipulated subtly. And it is by our food that is one of the absolute biggest and number one ways that humanity is being manipulated right now. And eating fear in your animal products is only one portion of that. Like I said, I could go on about this forever because it's something that I'm really passionate about. But so I cleaned up my diet really well years and years and years ago. And one of the last things that I still allowed in my diet that I didn't know what it was is something called natural flavor. And I'm sure everyone that tunes into this has read that in your ingredients. And I went so far as to email companies directly and ask them what this was in their food. And guess what? As soon as I started asking this question, I got ghosted by every single company. And I just think that's really interesting to think about for a minute. Why would they be talking to me until I start asking them about this and then no response? Several companies. So I just decided, pick your battles. I just retired it and I was like, okay, whatever. I did a lot of research on it, years ago, really couldn't find anything that gave any clarity on what it actually is. Every article or definition was just worded so vague and minutia bullshit that you couldn't even really come up with an answer to it. Only recently did I finally find some clarity as to what some of the natural flavors are. And I'm going to share one of them with you guys. And actually, I could leave the link to the article that I found. It's actually really atrocious. So I finally was able to find some information on this. And I found an article that talks about strawberry flavor, which is really common if you think about anything that's got natural or artificial flavor in it. Anything that's flavored strawberry. This article said that one of the main ingredients in a lot of the common strawberry flavoring actually comes from the anal gland of the beaver. The anal gland of the beaver for your strawberry. Yeah. And so it's really fucked up. But my partner and I have been making light out of it because there's so much on the, on the planet that's ass backward right now. We like have to make light of it. So we've been like getting really good at label reading and trying our best to avoid natural flavors because you don't know what they're feeding you under it. And if we do not require them to be honest and transparent with us, they're going to continue sneaking shit into our bodies without us knowing. And I don't know about you guys, but I personally don't want to be eating something out of a beaver's ass, especially if it's being disguised as strawberry flavor. And I think that most humans probably agree with me on this. So we've been playfully, me and my partner and I have been playfully reading all of the, the labels and jokingly calling natural flavors beaver butt. So when we're at the store reading it, that's what we call it now, just to make light of the situation, even though it's really fucked up. And I can't imagine what humans would think it's okay to harvest the stuff that they harvest from animals. I'm not going to go into it all, but I really wanted to share that with you. Yeah, Brittany. Yeah, and that's just one example, okay? That's just one example of one flavoring. It's got to make you wonder what else they are using. I'm so glad you're laughing at this with me. I feel so bad for the beavers. But guys, I've been doing research in this area for over a decade. And the lies that are being sold to us through our food are absolutely insane when you really start getting into the details of it. You realize that pretty much everything that is not made by human hands from, mostly at home or a small local organic shop who genuinely is in their integrity with what they're feeding people, 95% of what's out there being pushed as food for human beings is actually poisonous for us. And yeah, I'm not going to go into all the whys and the deeper, agenda with everything that's going on the planet right now. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I finally found some clarity on something that I've been trying to research for years and have not found anything on. And of course, it was appalling once I finally found some clarity on it. Seriously, save the beavers. So just think about that for a second. That's only one example. I can't even imagine what other animals they're doing whatever they feel inspired to do to. That is the whole scientific realm of how the science community has been using animals. And you could do your own research if you want to get more into that. I'm not going to go much more into that, but I'm just saying we've really got to start getting more conscious and really upping our standards and discernment. If you're not a label reader, I highly recommend getting into the habit of reading your labels. I mean, really, I'm an advocate for just not eating food that is already made, that's pre-made from a store, because it doesn't have anything beneficial for your body in it. And when I'm thinking about doing a workshop on the gunas, which is it's the energetics of the mind from an Ayurvedic perspective. When you start learning about the energetics of the mind and the different types of food and how they affect your mind, it really makes you open your eyes to how much humanity is being manipulated by our food. And if you think about how much there is a connection between your gut health and your brain, it makes complete sense. And your mind power is your power. It is your power that you manifest your reality with. And if you're being manipulated, if your mind is being manipulated by the food that you eat, it's literally hijacking your ability to manifest the reality that you want. It's really messed up on so many levels, but it is where we're at in truth on the planet right now. And it requires a real dedication to eat healthy, because there's attempts to sabotage your good, healthy efforts around every single corner. It's insane, actually. And, coming back to the terrain theory, you become the environment that you're in. Take a look at the environment of a lot of America right now, especially in the cities. The amount of people that aren't eating healthy, like, that's way more of the population that is eating healthy and that's being active. And so we have this massive momentum going right now that's extremely unhealthy, and it's making us docile and more complacent over time. So basically, what you put into your body, what you ingest in your mouth, has probably more control over your thoughts than anything else. And we don't even realize it. Oh, you've been diving for years. Yeah, we need to stand for our universal laws. Yeah, so like this is one of the things. This is one of the many, many ways and layers of humanity liberating ourselves. I've just been getting more and more clarity on like how deep this rabbit hole goes, of how very slyly and subtly humanity has been being manipulated for hundreds of years. And it's been done in such a way where it has just been like right in front of our noses and we haven't even understood it. And we have been bred into it generation after generation after generation. So much so that we don't even know what it's like to actually be a human being in its truest essence. I've honestly been looking at most of humanity right now as being bred in captivity, to be completely honest with you, because we're so conditioned in our societal norms, our comforts and conveniences, and having everything taken care of for us, and not being taught to think, and having our minds being manipulated in every single way possible, because that is the most powerful thing on the planet, is our minds. And whoever can control our minds controls the entire planet. And the food is one of the main things that has been being used to manipulate humanity. It's why it's so freaking hard to eat healthy and to stay on the path of eating healthy. If you actually start opening your eyes and looking around and seeing just how much effort is being put forth to keep us complacent and not questioning and just continuing to accept everything that society is feeding us, to the point where we're literally having beaver anal gland in our yogurt that's disguised as strawberry flavoring. Like, that's like kind of like at an extreme level of polarity on the planet right now. It's so ridiculous. Like, there's just no reason. But it's part of the whole grand play, the cosmic play that humanity is playing out on the planet right now. And it's a call to another level of consciousness and awareness. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that because I was just like appalled when I discovered it. I also just wanted to come on and give you some information and some motivation to be paying more attention to where you're sourcing your food and what you're putting in your mouth, because it's having a direct effect on your thoughts. And if you're not being able to be present, if you feel like you're having like erratic thoughts, if you've got a lot of depression and anxiety, if you just focused on your food, it would make a world of difference to actually eat clean, to eat earth foods. That's what I'm calling it. I'm not even calling it plant-based or vegan or any of that. I'm calling it earth food. The foods that the earth grows for us, that the earth makes for us, that's not being tampered with by machines or created into highly processed garbage that's very far from what an actual food is. Our bodies, our physical bodies, they are highly advanced technology. I'm not going to go into it because it's far beyond the scope of what I'm talking about right now. But I'm just going to say, you have no idea what we have gone through to get these physical bodies in the whole grand scheme of evolution for humans. It's taken a lot for us to get these bodies. And there is so much magic, so much power within them that we have no idea about. It's why there has been so much effort put into manipulating us and keeping us asleep, because we are powerful as fuck. We are literally creator gods with the ability to create realities and transform the world. But we're not going to do that if we're always stuck in brain fog and overwhelm and anxiety and survival and all of these different levels of stressful existence. When we get out of that and we start coming into a stable, even keel level of existence where we can be healthy and level-headed, that's when we can actually really start showing up for our soul mission. And so I shared just like a couple of minutes ago about how my own diet had started being affected by the terrain of America and the lack of support in every area to eat healthy. My diet started to take it. The terrain of America started to take a toll on my diet. And my own strength started to weaken over time after years of being in this environment again in America and up against all of this old energy that's trying to keep humanity enslaved. And I started eating lower quality foods. Like, I didn't eat dairy for years and years and years and years. And it started sneaking back into my diet a couple of years ago. And I was having a really hard time bringing myself back into alignment with everything that I have practiced and learned and embodied for years. And I recently just finally got the activation that I had been praying for, that really activated me back into eating the way that I know is best for me, the way that I feel the best, the way that's most ethical to all beings, including the planet, which is a lot of beautiful plants. And I just wanted to share with you guys, like, I took a break from being really in alignment with my plant-based diet, and I started eating more of like the normal things that I was still eating way healthier than I think the average American, but I was eating things that I hadn't eaten in years. Like cheese, for instance, because I know most cheese comes from tortured cows. So I don't personally eat it. This activation brought me back into alignment, like fully, completely into alignment. And I have just been rejoicing for the last 3 weeks, enjoying my amazing, vibrant, rainbow, plant-based, new earth diet that I had been eating for years already. Finally back into alignment with that. And having the contrast from veering away from that to coming back into alignment with it really made me realize, like, I already knew it was important, but I have like the embodied experience of it now. Like, my mind, my whole mental atmosphere is so much calmer, so much calmer, just from cleaning up my diet. And it wasn't even that bad, but just eliminating these foods that I know hold fear codes in them, getting rid of fear codes in my diet, getting rid of it in my mind. It's like I'm re-unlocking parts of my own freedom of thought and vibration just by doing this one tweak, which was really easy for me, honestly, because, you know, like, I mastered it and embodied it for years, and I didn't stay too far off of the path for very long, but I stayed off long enough for my vibration to take a lower, what's the word I'm looking for? A lower baseline. So I basically like came down in density, and it has been more or less a requirement out of my journey since leaving Hawaii, which has made it possible for me to survive in the lower density of modern day America. But it feels really good to be getting back up to where I was. And it's been a really beautiful experience for me because I understand it's like the experience is fresh in me. And I've been here living in it, living in what everyone else has been living in for years, while doing my best to uphold all of the yogic lifestyle and practices that I have learned over the years. Brittany, I would love to learn more from you on the plant-based diet you speak of. Yeah, I would love to teach some more on it. I'll keep that in mind. It's something that I focus on hugely in my one-on-one work with clients. But I've definitely been feeling called to do more videos and possibly some workshops on this because, to be completely honest with you, I mastered the diet thing years ago, and I don't know, like, I forgot that not everyone else is there. You know, like when you've gotten really familiar with something, it's like second nature to you, and you forget that not everyone else has that level of awareness about it as you do. That's kind of been me with food, which is another reason why it's been so beneficial for me to travel around America for the last few years, to get a good reminder of where this country is in consciousness and in diet and in lifestyle, and it's still something that is very much so needed. So I am going to be offering some more on it. And thank you for letting me know that you're interested in that. I said that I wasn't going to make this very long because I tend to just sit here and give too much. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. And I will see you next Wednesday. And on that note, if you have any specifics that you would like to hear me talk on, let me know, just like Brittany did now, and I will keep it in mind and give some more content in those areas. Okay, that's all for now. Aloha.